Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the grey. Today's video, we've got a Start Collecting Warhammer 40,000 video for you, and today we're going to be looking at one of the many Christmas Battle Force box sets that come out around this time every year from Games Workshop. In fact, they go up for pre-order next weekend. And today's Battle Force that we're going to look at is going to be the Omnissiah's Talon for the Adeptus Mechanicus. These battle forces are a great way to get into a brand new army. They give you a ton of models at a generally pretty good discount, usually around the 30% mark, and do generally give you a wide variety of units to pull from. What's great about this is it's just going to give you so many different options. There's a fantastic array of different miniatures to paint and sort of learn your trade in the painting side of the hobby, as much as getting an army ready on the table with this box set. I think there's some absolutely fantastic pieces to paint in this particular box set. With that said, what we're going to be doing in this video is, first of all, we're going to talk a little bit about what Adeptus Mechanicus are, what they do on the tabletop, and what we can sort of use them for, and then we'll look at all the units inside this box set and how they in particular work on the tabletop in brief, and then we'll also look at how we can expand upon that to get us to a decent fighting army, namely a 1,000 point army. Finally, at the end of the video, we'll show you a little sample 1,000 point army, or around about those points. Now, let's start off with what exactly do we get with an Adeptus Mechanicus army. Well, for starters, Adeptus Mechanicus are an army that has a lot of firepower. They have a lot of long-range shooting, even from their basic troops, and can put out a devastating amount of firepower with some really weird and powerful weaponry. They've got all manner of different weapons across the army, and it's one of the most interesting things I think about Adeptus Mechanicus is the variety of different weapons you can include in the same army. It really does mean you can find that right sort of tool to crack that right sort of problem across your army. It makes army list building and also just building your miniatures both fun and interesting. You've also got some fantastic fast moving options across the army, whether that be things like the Pederaxi or the Iron Stride Ballistari. You've got just all these different units that can really move fast and really back up that sort of heavy firepower your basic sort of troops can lay down for you. The last thing as well with the Adeptus Mechanicus is they have some really cool abilities that give you a variety of different turn-based abilities, whether that's the Doctrina Imperatives or other such abilities like the Canticles of the Omnissiah, all these different things that allow you to just sort of gain these abilities throughout the turns to benefit you in different ways across the game, really make for an interesting and exciting and really, I guess, in-depth way to play an army. Adeptus Mechanicus really are quite fun to play. They've got so many things going for them, they've got so many different sorts of troops, they're fun both on the table, both on your paint desk as well, and a really fantastic army to be getting into Warhammer 40,000 with. With that said, let's go look at everything that's inside the box set and what exactly it gives us. And so, what do we exactly get inside this box set? Well, the first thing we get is we get a Tech Priest Manipulus. He's a really cool commander for our force. He's got some really nice abilities, namely his Galvanic Field, which ups sort of the range of all the Galvanic, Arc, and Radiant weapons in a unit that are equipped with. So this can really just sort of start to benefit one of our core units nearby him. It has to be a core unit that he uses this ability on, but this can really help, like, once again, just extend that firepower's range. So we're able to stick, Ascatari Rangers in the backfield and get that extra range on their arc rifles to really be dealing with, like, sort of enemy light vehicles or starting to really damage enemy heavy vehicles. We then get some Pederaxi. These are a really fun fast attack choice for the army. Obviously, you can see they fly. They've got jump pack troops, which is really cool. This allows them to just do a lot of movement across the table and really give us that sort of fast moving flying troop that can ignore a lot of intervening terrain and do a bunch of other things as well. They're the thermal riders, so during deployment they can be chosen to set up high rather than setting up on the battlefield, and if you do so, then in the reinforcement steps of one of your movement phases you can set them up 9 inch away, so you've got a deep strike option available in them as well, which is solid. And then after them, we've got our Rust Stalkers. Rust Stalkers are an elite option for the Adeptus Mechanicus armor. They've got invulnerable saves, which is really nice thanks to their enhanced bionics. And they've also got some other cool abilities like the Wasteland Stalkers, where each time a ranged attack is allocated to a model in this unit, when else it's receiving the benefits of cover, you can add one to the saving throw made to that attack. So really good in cover as well. We then have our Cerberus Raiders, which are the cool, like, dog cross horse riders we have for the army. For me, these are while your Petaraxi are more a deep strike, sort of come in and do the damage. Your Cerberus Raiders are much more a harassment unit. They can go around the sides of the table, and in particular, at the start of the first battle round, models in this unit can make a normal move, and this cannot end more than 9 inches away from enemy units. So they're allowed to, do some pre-game moves and set up. So you've got two very different sort of abilities here with your Petaraxi and your Cerberus Raiders, which can work really well in unison. The Cerberus Raiders start on the table and move forward, while your Petaraxi can come on later during the game. We've then got the Iron Strider Ballisteri, which can have some last cannons, so it's just some really strong, heavy armor taking support. So generally, I would always suggest building this with the Cognis Lash Cannons. I find that it just gives what's left in the rest of the box some really sort of heavy armor firepower, something to deal with those big heavy tanks. And lastly, we've got Skitarii Rangers. These are just a really solid unit. They've got a bunch of different options throughout the unit. I really do like their arc rifles that you can take in the unit, and would strongly suggest trying to take as many arc rifles as you possibly can. It's a really, really solid box to get all you can out of it. And you've got some other cool weaponry in there as well. But arc rifles are really nice, especially against light vehicles. Skitarii Rangers have some really strong base sort of weaponry that can come in large units as well, and really start to do that damage against your opponent from range, which is nice for a good core troops choice. Lastly though, where do we go after this box set? Well, for starters, I just literally go and pick up the Adeptus Mechanicus Combat Patrol. This box set will give you roughly about, straight out of the box, 500 to 600-ish points. Where adding the Combat Patrol to it, you'll be about 940, 960. And you've got a few points to play with, and the list will show at the end of the video. What's also great about this, the Combat Patrol, it'll give you other 2 troops choices in your Cataphrone Destroyers, and then a unit of Skitarii Rangers as well. And you get a cool vehicle, more heavy sort of vehicle than your Ballisteri in the Onager Dunecrawler. And you get a second HQ choice in your Tech Priest Engine Seer as well. So some really solid pieces to add to your force here, giving you extra troops, giving you a tank, and giving you another HQ option. Just a really solid box to add to this initial battle force. And so here we have a little sample army list. Obviously you can change this and you can put some extra upgrades on all the units and just sort of play around with what you want to do with this. I think the list we've written, it comes to about 950-ish points. So you could even try and fit in another character if you want, or another unit, something small to add to this force on top of the 2 boxes. But the 2 boxes will give you a good 1,000-point start. You can build around and play with some of the units and all their different upgrades. We've gone for the Tech Priest Engine Seer and the Tech Priest Manipulus with the Transonic Cannon, which is an upgrade for him. A Skitarii Ranger Squad's taking both their available upgrades in the Enhanced Data Tether and the Omni Specs, and then 2 arc rifles in both units with an arc maul on both of the Ranger Alphas. Next, we've got Cataphrone Destroyers with just the straight up plain Cataphrone Destroyers, but you could definitely play around with what weapons you want to build on these. This is just a solid base of troops, remembering that a Manipulus can allow core units near him, like the Skitarii Rangers, to upgrade their arc and their other weapons. They're able to get some extra range out of them and sort of just shoot your opponent from a much further range. Meanwhile, our elites, our Sicarian Ruststalker squad, can be a really great sort of move up combat unit that can sort of play alongside this and work well with things like the Iron Strider Ballisterius, which is, with its last cannons and its speed, able to get up the table and get in range and stop the opponent's tanks being able to hide from it. Petaraxi and the Cerberus Raider Squad, as we mentioned in the previous slide, they're going to be able to work really well together. With our Cerberus Raiders sort of making pre-game moves to sort of set us up and sort of try and force our opponent to have to move in certain ways, where our Petaraxi can come down from the sky once we've forced our opponent to have to do certain things to come down and lay down the fire. So you can get the Cerberus Raiders to set up the attack for the Petaraxi Skystalker Squadron. Lastly, our Onager Dunecrawler, he just provides some great heavy firepower for the army. All his different weapons have different variations, whether you want him to sort of be more a vehicle hunter or a troop hunter. Really up to you on what weapon you want to put with him. You could definitely try working on some magnetizing, some fantastic clips on YouTube from various different sources to work on magnetizing and all that. But he's just a great piece to give you some really heavy firepower for the army. With that said though, if you're thinking of picking up this box, let us know what you plan to do with it in the comments below. I'd love to hear from everyone, and if you're an Adeptus Mechanicus player, let us know what you think of all the units in the comments below as well. Well, that's the end of the video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And also, drop us a comment in the video and let us know what you enjoyed about it as well. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our fine community here at Sinful Gaming, you can do so by following the link in the description of the video to our Discord server. You can come chat with me and other members. Lastly, if you'd like to help support the channel in another way, you can do so either by joining Patreon or YouTube members linked in the video's description, or by getting some merch from Teespring, also linked in the video's description. We'd like to give a shout out to everyone who helps support the channel on Patreon and YouTube members, so a special shout out to our Patreons: Christian Weir, James Soren, Chaos Spawn, AJC, Kenny Lowell, Alvarin Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, The Rising Ape, Cure Dynamic, Agu, Anthony B, Adina226, Anton Nielsen, JJ Austrian, and Average Wargamer. And a shout out to our YouTube members as well: Greenroots Gaming, Kenton Young, Steve T, The Real Zealot, Chris Wallace, Turai12, Vinny, Lock Lorick, The Johnny84, David Ellsworth, Revenar, and Wolfric Nick. Lastly, a special thanks to Lady Witchfox Art, who does the amazing artwork you see on the channel. Everything here is done by her. She does an amazing job, so thank you very much. And lastly, a special shout out to Xmorphic, who does all the background work on the Discord server, keeps it running smoothly and makes it amazing, because I am terrible with computers. So thank you, Xmorphic, as well. That's it for today though, folks. Stay safe everyone, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. Ciao for now.